Couldn't catch me, I be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When that's enough, then I just have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When that's enough, then I just have to leave. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting. Yeah, shooting shots. Shooting stars.
Didn't even get to cross.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away? Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away?
It's Monday night. We always own Man City. How are we doing, guys?
I'm good.
Welcome.
I'm good. How are you guys?
Welcome to everybody. It's Monday night and we're here. Actually, we have to apologise. We missed out last week, right? But we're all here and we're all happy,
We're here
right?
now.
Yeah, we're indeed. Guys, how you guys feeling after yesterday? I mean, we don't celebrate draws, obviously, but given how it all came about,
I've heard a lot of crying from Man City supporters.
salty tears, mate. Salty
A lot of
tears.
crying. A lot of crying. But the best best rebuttal to that was that we have to we have to back our referees. It's true what Expression said in his videos. We have to respect the referees and their decisions.
Do you know what?
Well, I've got a feeling
roll
that's
with
going
the
to be a
punches.
talking point,
I
isn't
do
it?
wanna-
Again,
Yeah, no,
that's
no.
going to be
I
a
mean,
talking point, no doubt.
I do want to talk about that because I reckon I know.
Straight away, yeah, JP, straight in.
No. I reckon I know what the refs, or like the reason for the refs. Sorry about the tail, but just let the cat get away before he steps all over the keyboard.
Is it a sting in the tail coming out?
It's always has the cameras on. The cat appears. Paching. Yeah. So you good, Maz?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I actually, Iggy knows I didn't actually feel that good about the game yesterday, but today I feel a lot better about it. And the reality is that
Time
we
to
played
digest it.
the best
I
team
never,
in
I
the
never
league.
realised how emotional Maz gets after a game. I managed to stay, even for me, I managed to stay quite rational. I'm thinking Maz is like emotional. It's
It's the
pure emotion.
years. It's the years of torture.
I was
No,
I was
I
actually
was I was I
quite
was I
calm.
was annoyed at the time about the game, but just for various factors, which I'm sure we'll go into. But I'm not. But yeah, all good. I'm all good now.
I know I was quite calm, and like I had a chat with Shine briefly at half time, and like he was like, "Whoa," and I was like, dude. I don't know if I made Shine angry, but I was like, what can we expect? We can't
No, but
expect more
do
than these guys that are there now, right?
you
We
know
know
what I
that
was
they
thinking about it,
can't
man?
pass.
What I was thinking is like, if I think of the Aston Villa game, it's like, well, you guys, I've heard many people talk, right? I've listened to a lot of people talk, and they've been saying now Tottenham should have been out of sight by half time. You guys
Man
should not
City.
have even been in the game but that second half wouldn't have existed if Man City have taken their chances. They had Haaland's chance, Doku's chance, blah blah blah, this and Alvarez, and I'm like, hang on a minute, what about the Aston Villa game? How many
Same. It's
chances did we
exactly
have
the
in the
same, innit?
first half? We
It's
left
exactly
scraps
the
on the
same
floor and
game.
Aston Villa fed off it in the second half, and we ended up paying the ultimate price. We ended up losing the game. So where's the difference? I mean, if we're
It
gonna
was exactly the same, Iggy, wasn't it?
have
It was
balance.
exactly the same.
Try and view the games for and against, but with balance. Yes, Man City should have been out of sight, but guess what? They weren't. They conceded goals. We looked like we was going to score every time we attacked. I felt that we was going to score goals, but at the same time, we was going to concede because of the chances
Well,
we'd given. So, it doesn't matter what way you look at it, guys. You cannot go to the Etihad and say, you know what, we're not going to give them any chances on goal. They're a superb side. They're an attacking side
Let me
with
let me just
defensive frailties at the moment. They're conceding a lot of goals. And yesterday was another occasion of it.
let me just run through the say some hellos to the folks in the
Yeah,
crowd, and
big
then
up guys
kind
to
of
the chat.
and then we'll get into it. So Donna Cullen's here, Wagwan still, but what about
It's
Maz
getting
and
more and more
Iggy and
street.
Wagwan
Wagwan,
us?
Donna. Wagwan, everything good?
Big up to Stephen. Will you still think this is better than Rice?
This is better than
So
Rice.
far,
What are we gonna
overall
wait for
season one
Rice?
game. We
Yeah,
just go
one
from game
game.
to game kind of thing, right?
Maybe on
Oh, he's
not
good.
Man City's performance, not that performance. I wouldn't probably say on that basis. But do you know what? Let's have a look at it and review
I
it at
don't
the
know.
end of the season.
Yeah, we're coming. Big up Coleshaw, Roberts in the house, Mooney. Biz season. We'll get on to Biz. Don't you worry. Swag. Help me with this one.
Svarog
Svarog.
PG.
Big
Svarog
up.
PG.
Big up. Tom. Ryan Isaac's in the house.
Yeah, who's right? Who's that right? Oh, hello, Ryan. You're right, man.
Yes. Big up, my man.
Tone.
Jason Williams. William. Big up to you. Someone called Tottenham away. Running a bit late.
That's gonna be Mari. I want to say Mari. It's good.
Yeah,
But
Marvin's going to be
there's
with
one
us
thing
a
I
bit
want to
later
say to the
anyway.
Tottenham away boys.
Oi, oi.
Please sign your messages so we know who it is. I mean, if me and JP were there, it could be one of us two. So sign.
Big up, Stixie. Saw you yesterday on the show. Andy, big up. JJ, I think we've said. Antonio, welcome,
Big
man.
up.
Quazali, Mike Zappa, what's up, man? I remember catching up with him outside the ground. Great man. Big up, Carl, Frankfurt Guna. Yeah. So all the Bazuma people coming
One
out
game.
now.
One game.
All the
It's
Bazuma
taken him
people
to have
coming
one
out
bad
now.
game to
Big
pile
up,
it
Ian
on.
Collins.
You know what? Get it out of your system,
Big
Gooners.
up,
Go on.
Mark. Big up, Joe. There's Mark in the house. Robert, JJ. We'll say hello to JJ a couple of times. Mr. Post Office, Totspur. And they're all, I think I've got most of them now. Language Angels.
Big up, Paolo.
Alpesh. Skulls.
what a name.
And
Stuff
she
is
became a butterfly. Big up, man.
awesome.
There's Mr. OG, Chris Agambar.
Big
Loving
up,
the
Chris.
thumbnail. Loving the thumbnail on that. What's up, Chris? And we have Scott M in the house. He'll bring us back. Scott will keep it real, right? Big up, pal. And I think I've caught up now. Bear with me. 3 SS Sports Pick. Big up to you. Norman Stanley. Oh, wow, there's way too many people, man. Robert Ward. Philly. Richard Taylor and
Oh,
Custom
Richard Troyer,
Spoon.
my troller is in the
So
house.
Troyer.
Big up, Rich.
Oh, is
Yeah,
it?
he's my troller. Big
Morning,
up, morning
Sava.
Tava.
Hey.
Look, we'll say morning to him, but Sava's in a different show, so we'll pass on your
Wrong
morning
show,
to
buddy.
him.
Wrong show, buddy. Right. So we saw the teams. What do we think of the team as it came out? It's kind of almost as we expected, right?
Yeah,
Iggy?
exactly what we expected it to be. No
Yeah.
surprises.
Basuma in for
Yeah.
I think
I was
I'll tell you
sort
one.
of
I'll
surprised
tell you
that Gill
one.
was in
One
the team, if I'm honest.
surprise. One surprise was for me anyway. Was the fact that Richarlison was on the bench, because personally I didn't hear anything about him coming back or suddenly being fit
that was
or
a
something like that, and it was like bang, he was on the bench. I
Oh,
was like,
it
whoa.
was still that comment early on was some stuff. I didn't know who it was, and I'm glad he signed it because now I know who it is. Yeah, Man City had loads of chances, but Spurs missed loads of chances versus Aston Villa. This is what we was on about earlier on. No sympathy for Man
Not
City
our
because
fault.
we got no
Not our
sympathy
fault.
either.
Not our fault.
Exactly the point
Not our
mentioned
fault.
earlier. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's swings and roundabouts, as they say in Essex.
So
But-
yeah, so like with the team lineup. Sorry, Maz, go on.
I was going to say with the team lineup, maybe the surprise was that Gill was playing. I really didn't think Gill was going to play because he's so sort of lightweight, and he didn't in the previous game. For me, he didn't do much to solidify that space in the team. So I thought because it's Man City, he would go with more height in the team and put Højbjerg in and move Basuma a little bit further up forward to give us a little bit more creativity going forward, but he didn't do that. I suppose it was a good thing Gill was playing in the first half, certainly, because he set up helped, set up one of the goals.
It was brilliant for that one where he's turned.
Yeah, where he turned, yeah.
Yeah. But listen, it's going to be healed.
As the
Go on,
as
mate,
the game,
sorry.
no, I was going to say, and then obviously as the game started, it kind of Man City almost started with their tempo, right, in terms of being on top of us, having an early shot which Vicario saved. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I was definitely the things I was fearing, and I said the other day, I think it was last Friday or Thursday, like I phoned up to Mari's show, was the fact that I was really worried about Doku versus Porro. I was obviously worried about Haaland against Emerson and Davis. And do you know what? None of them came into fruition. You could say Haaland had a bad game or whatever it is, but do you know what? I secretly said to my son, so far, a few times in the past, I've put money on Haaland to score a goal, and in those games, he's not scored. So yesterday, I was like, bang, I'm putting a bet on that. I'm putting a bet that he scores at least one goal, and it's not going to happen. Guess what? It didn't happen. But seriously, Doku versus Porro. Like, what do we think? Like in terms of Porro.
I don't think any of our defenders, really had a good game. I think it was more that Man City were poor by their standards. That they sort of had a good game in that respect. I know that sounds contradictory, but
Yeah.
I didn't have any real strong feelings against the performances of our back four, even Vicario, to be honest with you. But there were certain players that did have a good game, which we'll go on about. But
You don't think Porro had a good game? No.
No, I don't think he did. To be honest, no, I don't think many of our players really had a good game. I mean, the people that I would class as having a good game was Son, Lo Celso, and Kulu. They'll really stand out for me, and they really
Kulu definitely stood out.
Yeah, dragged us through, especially in the second half. And that's why I was so mixed about that whole performance, because I was expecting Man City to blow us away. They didn't, and I think that when they didn't blow us away and they kept missing all those chances, our deficiencies were then really frustrating to me, and I got really annoyed with it, because I thought, well, they're giving us so many chances, and we did look dangerous when we were going forward, as well. And had we had our more first team players there, I think they were there for the taking. I really do. And I don't think they would have dominated us either if we had all of our players. But
Yeah, and
I think
I
that,
said,
on the back four, I think that Emerson and Davies really upset the balance of the defence and made Adoji and Porro more nervous than what they normally are. On the flip side, I felt that Basuma had not a great game, to be honest with you. He was more of the Basuma of yesteryear than this season, for me.
I mean, Iggy, just coming to you about Porro. Obviously, I know. Obviously, we just heard from Maz, but in terms of now Doku, from what I've seen, he's been
Yeah.
ripping some of those kind of like right backs apart. And yesterday, he only had one dribble.
Yeah. Listen, I thought Pollard done all right. I think, given in the grand scheme of things, in the context you just mentioned it in, Doku's been on fire, firing, and he had that great opportunity. But that opportunity really came from our doing, really, wasn't it? I thought the balance of the team in the first half wasn't fully there. We was really open. Like when we attacked, we left ourselves so open to counters and they were cutting us up like anything, and I thought the defense in possession were poor. We were in possession from trying to play the ball from the back. We was poor. We was giving the ball away so cheaply and unnecessarily. We was taking almost like forcing those passes. We was either giving it to the opposition or we was giving hospital balls. We was giving it to our player where him receiving it was going to put him on the back foot or was going to close him down. But defensively wise, listen, we did as well as listen. It could have gone a lot worse. Put it that way, with that back four against an attacking side that is Man City, and they're brilliant at doing it. There's no two ways about it. They can cut you open any which way they want. So I thought it. Throughout the whole 90 plus minutes, I thought they did really well, including the keeper who made a mistake. Some things he did well playing for the
It
back,
was one
others
little
not so
kick
well.
out, wasn't it?
But
It was
he
like literally one
responded that
kick
with
out.
he responded that with a brilliant save. So, guys, we've got to understand that when we are playing from the back under pressure, if you break that first pressing, you've got an open pitch, and we did it numerous times where we did that. We got out, and we had the whole pitch ahead of us. There'll be other times where we got dispossessed, and that's just part of football. It's going to happen, but it does. It would happen less, I feel, with players who are more comfortable doing that. I don't think Emerson, perhaps, and Davis are two players that are comfortable necessarily doing it from a centre back situation. But we reorganised ourselves for the second half, and there was a lot better, and we're more balanced, and we took less risks than we did perhaps in the first half. But I was happy with the performance, and I was just glad that we was able to break that streak of 3 defeats in a row. I think a fourth one, which will probably, let's be honest, we all probably thought we would get that because we just the way that we was going into that game. It was just good to have.
I think
And I agree, Basuma didn't have his finest games, and he was that. It hurt us a lot, him not, because he was the first player that we would always look to give the ball in that holding midfield area, and for him not to have a brilliant game, which can happen, is how many has he had of those? How many bad games like yesterday's has he had that we can honestly say? So
I think one of the things I would say about Basuma, if we jump into midfield, would be the fact that he was off a little while ago with a card, right? He had a break.
yeah,
He had a couple of days off, and the first day he came back. Big up Murray, man. The first game he came back, again he was a bit slow and he was a bit sluggish. Now, I don't know if that's him just needing a game to get up to match speed. It shouldn't be. And in all fairness, that really should not be the case, right? Because if out of anything, he should be coming back refreshed and ready to go, as opposed to needing a game to get back into it and stuff. But I see that from a pattern from last time.
Yeah, but JP, he doesn't. He didn't come back sluggish or anything. And it was not a physical issue that he had. He just didn't have a good game, and
it's just not
that
himself.
can happen.
Yeah,
You got you got your position in front of you. You got your opposing midfielders in front of you. Sometimes it can happen.
It's telling though that his dip in form has coincided with our defenders going out, right? I do think that plays a big part to any midfield. When you've got two shaky defenders at the back, as we saw last season, but even this season now, the last few games, that it really does affect the team and how we flow, especially when we, kick it. We start from the back and we try and, break the other team's press. I mean, Davies and Emerson I just closed my eyes every time they were passing it around the back, just hoping that
it was scary. And I most certainly have more muscles now in my kind of like rear part of my body than I have done with any other game. That's most definitely sure. But I think reality says we have to understand, right? Those two of them are literally two stopgaps within that area.
Yeah, and I don't actually blame those two players, albeit they shouldn't really be at the club, but that's another topic altogether,
that's a different story.
I don't blame the Emerson or Davies for what happened, because they've reached their ceiling of ability, right? And we know what to expect from them, and they're coming up against the best team in the world, or one of the best teams in the world. And I, Stell was right. I was laughing at him last show, thinking that we were going to get absolutely pummeled. I was fully expecting that.
I mean,
but I was just disappointed in the first half. It was just more that they were there for the taking, in terms of they had vulnerabilities, and when we went forward, you could see those vulnerabilities, but we didn't capitalize as well as what I thought we probably could have.
But did we expose those vulnerabilities and capitalize on them in the second half enough? We had a lot more play in the second half.
Yeah, right? When we needed to.
We had a lot more play. Yeah. One thing I will praise those two for, and I don't necessarily give out praise quite easily, is the fact that they are the only two we've got, almost kind of like literally, apart from like a couple of the kids, right? But they are following Angie's instructions. It scares the hell out of me. Them two playing it out the back, trying to play little triangles,
they're doing what they can in the limited abilities that they have as centre backs. You're right, JP. They're doing exactly what they can. They're trying to play the high line when they can.
But they're
trying
listening.
to defend. They've never worked together.
Even to a point, they know, Iggy, that they're not capable of doing it, but
they're trying. They're trying to play the way Ange wants them to play. They're not centre backs. They've not played together as centre backs. They've put it we are in an emergency situation in that area of the pitch, and they're doing the best of they can. Are they going to concede opportunities? Are going to make the mistakes? It's in the players' characteristics to make those mistakes. They do them when they're playing their favoured positions. So while they're not going to do it in a position when they're not used to playing. For me, there are other areas like we had a few situations when attacking situations like Brian Hill was just come up now. Brian Hill got himself. See, Brian Hill. He had the understanding and the ideas where to get to, the position to get to. Unfortunately, like I think one of the in a Sky Sports panel said, it was like watching a boy in a man's game, and it's like
it literally was, wasn't it?
It was, because people saying he was up against Carl Walker, and Cole Walker gets the better of a lot of players physically, pace. He gets a lot of, and he schooled him yesterday. He could, he did a couple of brilliant pieces. Like Maz said earlier, he was involved in that to, started the move for our goal. But yesterday, has to say, on a positive note, whilst we have that, we have to say Kulusevski, not his ability.
yeah.
His ability was always there. We all know that he's more than able, and I think this responsibility given to him in one of the most important areas of the pitch, he's absolutely taken that and taken it up to another level. And it's what I loved about Kulusevski yesterday. It's not just like I said, the ability and as a player, is the fact that he's taken that responsibility. He's taken ownership. He's shown a lot of character, and he was very present in every moment of that game yesterday. I
He
have to
didn't
big up Lo
allow.
Celso, and
Yeah,
Son's movement off the ball was incredible, guys. If you
yeah,
watch that game, I
yeah.
said it earlier on to Maz of behind the scenes earlier on. I said I watched the whole game again properly this afternoon, and I thought he was immense. Like Son's movement to allow everything else going on. I thought he was incredible yesterday, guys.
Yeah, the flip side to everything I've been saying, which has got a negative undertone to it, is that there's a hell of a lot of positives from the first half and the second half, more the second half. But Lo Celso for me didn't put a foot wrong. He covered a
He
lot
had
of
a good
ground.
game.
He was
He had a good
quality.
game.
Yeah, Gerald was
And
good as well.
And that's
that's
back
what
to back.
really excites me about Lo Celso is that regardless of who he plays against, whether it's a friendly against Barcelona or Man City or whatever, he's always shows he's got quality about him and he's unfazed. Kulu for me was just unbelievable, and putting aside all of his quality in terms of on the ball, he just did not allow any of those Man City players to bully him off the ball. In fact, he was doing a right good job on Rodri as well, physically, which was really, really impressive to see from Kulu. And as you said, Iggy, Son's movement up front really was just phenomenal. And he had his pace, and he really showed his pace again, didn't he, in
They
that game?
stepped up. They stepped up. Those boys stepped up yesterday.
Doku's not slow, right?
No,
Doku's
of
not
course
slow.
not.
He's not slow at all. And Son literally burnt him for that goal.
Yeah,
He
he
burnt
allowed
him for
himself
that
to
goal.
switch on his afterburners and really go for it, and I think that's the first time this season I've seen him really, run at full speed, effectively.
But guys, for me, like yesterday was it was gutsy. It was a gutsy performance, and we went there with a straight back. We knew that of course, they have the ability to cut any team open. And how many teams have gone there with that personality and took it to them?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
You know, you say people keep going on about the first half, but there's a second half as well. You know,
It's a game of two halves. It's a game of two halves. I have to say, big up to Mari for doing the watch along, man. Great
big
show.
up, Mari.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'll say a couple of things because you guys are on the subject. First of all, I came in when you guys were talking about pretty much Davies and Emerson, our four fullbacks. This is telling about Eric Dyer. This is telling about Eric Dyer.
He's gone, mate.
He's gone.
Job done.
Yeah, he's gone.
I think a couple of weeks ago, Mari, when he actually picked Emerson instead of Dyer, I think that's when he got a Christmas card early.
He's done.
Well, I saw a report that a player had an argument with Levy after the Wolves game.
Probably was him.
Right?
It was probably him. The second thing I would say this too, right now with City's defense, if you haven't noticed, the last 4 games they've dropped points.
And goals.
And goals.
Many goals.
Chelsea, 4 goals. RB Leipzig, 2 goals. Us, 3. And then was another opponent they've given Liverpool.
That's a good point, now, Mark. That's a very good point.
And to be honest, because I went to see the game again, in regards to Son, can you imagine if Madison and a couple other people were like healthy and they were in the game? Sonny would have scored more goals. City's defense right now is not like last year's defense. I mean, we know that they could turn on the switch, but right now their defense is struggling, and so there were opportunities for us to score. And good thing that we finished our dinner. But right now, City, their defense, defense wins championships. Right now, Liverpool and Arsenal are playing better defense than City's defense. And good thing yesterday we took advantage of that yesterday. So that's one thing from the game that I noticed. You guys mentioned Lo Celso. Lo Celso was perfect, 40 for 40 in his passes.
100%, wasn't it?
I
Short
think that position is so good for him. That position where he plays in that number 8, it suits him to the way. And you know what? His qualities will always show even more against a team that plays on a technical level. Perhaps if a team's a physical team, his qualities may not show as much, or if it's a battle. But when against the likes of the Man City, which they play football and they allow you to play football, Lo Celso does that brilliantly. It does that job really well. Like I said, the number 8, and I think like we listen. I want to go back on because Kulu as well. We've gained another number 10. I know Madison's brilliant and he's number 1 choice there for sure, but to know that we've got another number 10 in the house ready to play, and for me now, when you look at it on the right hand side, he's almost limited when he goes there. Because we kind of know what he's going to do, but in the number 10, it makes him more unpredictable. I don't know how you guys felt about Kulu. It seems like he seems to have
He relished it, didn't he?
relished it. Yeah, it's like, you know what? Is it as if to say, this is my position?
Yep.
He's almost telling us.
I like playing it. I
like
like
playing it. Play me here whilst Madders is out.
This is what I can do here.
Yeah.
You seen what I can do out there. This is what I can do here.
And also, you know how sometimes physically on the wing, he looks like he burns out, runs out of steam quite early on. Yesterday, he was when he went up for that header. That was 90 minutes there. You know what I mean? It was like at the end of the game, and he looked like, he had the edge over someone who had just come on.
He came on like a steam train, didn't he?
Just unbelievable. Listen, it was an incredible performance, and it was just good to see because he was getting a lot of stick, Kulu. Not by me. I've always liked him, but he was getting a lot of stick. He was getting a lot of stick by everyone. Maybe rightly so.
It is funny though, like
But I've always liked him.
When players need your support, they get a bad time, and then kind of like when they do well, it's like, oh, I always knew he'd be. I'm not saying you guys, but that's the way
I've always been one of the
way I see social media.
I've seen him play for Sweden in that middle. I've seen him for Sweden. I've seen him play in the middle, and I knew that because of the way we was playing before under the previous managers, and obviously with Maddison in now, his chances are limited to show what he can do in that part. Now, for whatever reason, we find ourselves now playing him in the middle of the park. I always thought Lo Celso was going to play there, but it looks like Lo Celso relishes more of the number 8 player. I think it suits him better. So could have playing closer to Son works well. I honestly
think Gio's taken his chance in the last couple of games, like whether he's been itching to leave the club or whatever was wrong. Because for the 2 previous games before that, it was a bit weird for me also, the fact that he wasn't getting selected.
Well, there was a rumor that he went to Ange to complain, like, "Hey, I want to play. Give me some time. Give me some time to play." And now these last 2 games, he's
it's whether he wants to stay, right, Mari?
Yeah.
Does he want to stay with us? Because to be honest, if he even murmured anything to Ange about, do you know what? I want out this club. I've been here for so long. I've not given my chance. All these managers, blah 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 blah. If he's gone to Ange and said that he wants out, and Ange is going, well, do you know what? I've not even given you a chance yet or a spot yet. I started you preseason. You looked good. I like you. Now you're coming to me saying you want to leave. In that case, keep that bench all, my friend, and you can come on when I ask you to.
Is this Lo Celso we're talking about?
Yeah, it's needs must now, isn't it? It's like literally needs must now, and it's up to Gio, I guess, if he's bought into it.
Because he was asking to play, and now it took injuries and suspensions. He's playing, and So far,
That's
he's doing
that's what you
good.
have to do as a player, right, Mari? You get your chance. You've got to give it your all when you get that chance and show the manager. Do you know what? You need to find a place for me in this team because this
Well,
is what I can do.
this can go two ways, though, guys. It can go two ways. One of them, if he genuinely wants to stay and give it a crack at it, he's been given the opportunity to do so, and he's done well. He's scoring goals, which he has done. Again, he scored one. Was it against Villa? He scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
And now Man City. So he's scoring now. So he's got a little run, scoring goals. So
Two games, 2 goals.
confidence is going to be high. And if he genuinely wants to stay, this is now his chance to do so, to cement his place in a style of football that we're playing now suits his characteristics a lot more better than perhaps the way we used to play beforehand. Or if he genuinely is playing right now because there's a necessity for him to play, but when everybody's back, they're going to get their places back, and the Celso will go back and back. We would have played him, upped his value back again, ready to sell in January. So it's worked out in a way where perhaps we would have got this amount if he hadn't played, but now we're going to get a little bit more because actually there is a player there. But I think right now we don't have another somebody with Lo Celso's characteristics as a number 8 in a squad. We don't. So
there's no other creativity there.
Yeah, with
no one
Sarr,
from midfield who gets goals.
Yeah, so with Sarr, with Basuma, with himself, Bentancur when he comes back, I think we've got a really good mix there. No, not at this moment.
Not now. But
what I'm saying is, if you look at the midfielders, that every single one of them are different from each other, characteristics wise.
Yeah.
So we've got a real good cocktail of players in that middle of the park when everybody's fit, of course, to move forward with. And I think Brennan Johnson on the right looked at. I must admit, I preferred him on the right actually because again he showed burners to Guardiola for one chance.
I thought Brendan Johnson had a good game, to be honest.
Yeah. Did you see that one where he put the burners on Gavardia to put that cross in, which was intercepted by Diaz? And Son nearly scored from that.
He always seems to be involved in when you should do. He's obviously it's a forward, right? But he's always makes himself available. He's always involved. He's always on the end of a run or making something happen.
Yeah, in our attacks, he's present, Maz. In our attacks, he's very, very present. The only thing now we need to try and find something from somewhere is that left-hand side now. With Son now cementing, let's be honest, he's cemented his place up top now, isn't he?
Solomon, but I guess we missed him and Perisic, right?
Solomon,
them two.
I see Solomon as a squad player, guys. I don't know how you see. I want something a bit more with more meat in it and on that. I want someone that's like an outlet. I'm not saying
Don't
Doku,
worry,
but I'm saying
Richie's coming back.
Well, Richarlison was very surprised to see him back as early as he was. I wasn't expecting him to the New Year's. I don't know where that came from. But if we can get someone on that left-hand side for in Jan, it's a long way away from now. But I think someone who can work well with Udogie. I think. Listen, we slowly we can start building or something here. And
see, but it's kind of like you can see the little shapes now, can't you?
Yeah, of course you can. You can see the potential what we can become with a little investment. We're not talking about 100 million players like Jack Grealish, or investing a big bulk of money on one player. We're talking about getting like real quality players at good prices, which you can find. If you look, you have a good scouting network. You can find gems out there with 25, 30 million who would massively improve your team. I just think if we can get that, let's see.
Just really quickly, because someone in the chat did mention it, and I brought it up, and I was thinking about this earlier. Guardiola, like, weren't we touted to buy him and spend stupid amount of money on buying him? And
he
looks. I mean, I know he's not. I don't know.
He's playing him left back though, man. For some reason,
he's not really a left back, but he's not really lit it up, has he? Since he's come so far this season. So,
for me, have we
dodged the bullet there?
No, I think Gvardiol's a quality player. If you put him in the right context, I think he is good. I think.
I think he's.
He
I
ain't
don't
no
know.
left back.
He's still trying to find his form with City. I think because right
Mari,
now,
he isn't a left back, bro. He isn't a left back.
yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And right now, it's you know,
And it's the
City's
pace of this league.
but then again, it could be right now Pep experimenting for a time because when it's Man City when they turn it on, it's just the second half of the season. Right, first half of the season they experiment with some things, and right now they're leaking goals. Right now they're leaking goals. Right, their problem's not the offense. I mean, they scored 3 goals. Well, technically 2, but it's the defense right now that is not running on all cylinders in the last 3 or 4 games, Champions League and Premier League. And so, is it right now? Is it Pep tinkering? For a major run? Who knows? Time will tell. But going by history, it could be that. But
I mean,
Guardiola is also trying to find his way in the Premier League. I would say that VDV has found his foot in the Premier League quicker than Guardiola.
yeah. I kind of
Yes, I agree
would
with that.
agree.
But I also think that Van de Ven was put in a context where it is him. He's playing in the back four. He's playing with Romero week
Yeah,
in, week out. Gavardio has been put in a new league for him. The pace of the league against wingers who are absolute. They're steam trains, aren't they? Every winger and even every winger of this league, even them, I'm not just talking about the top 5, 6 teams. Even the middle part. That every team has got a winger that absolutely flies down that wing. And if you're a centre back playing out there, and as quick as you want to be, man, you're not a left back. You haven't got the timings. You haven't got the way of running like a left back does up and down the flank. A centre back doesn't do that. That doesn't mean the centre backs are slow. They just have different timings. Things they move differently to a left back or right back does. So in the same way the way fullbacks do when they play centre backs, which we're finding out with the likes of Emerson, the timing of the way they move is different. The way they receive the ball. If you're receiving that as a left back, it's always what's coming from your right and what's ahead. It's never what's on the other side. As a centre back, you got to be scanning
Both
everywhere, and
everywhere.
so your thinking methods are completely different, and it can throw you off when you're putting. And also, Pep does tinker with his defense a lot. He changes centre backs as well.
yes,
So we don't have that luxury, which is probably a benefit for Van de Ven. He's playing with Romero and Udogie next to him, week in, week out,
yes.
without fact. He just needs to find the understanding with them, and obviously he's quality himself. So I just think that Guardio is the. I still think he's the quality player that we saw for Croatia. The difference is of Croatia, he's playing in a context that he knows very well, with players that he knows very well in his own language and everything else. And here he's still finding his feet. But I don't know
In
why Pep's
in
insistence of
time, it will
playing
come.
centre backs
Yeah.
at left backs. And do you remember he used to play midfielders there at
Hmm?
left backs, the guy that used to play at Aston Villa before, I can't remember, Delph. Used to
Now,
play him
Delph,
there.
now,
And
Fabian Delph. Yeah.
now
sometimes I think
Romero's going to be back for the next game. Who do you think is going to partner him? It's
I
going to have
think
to be
I think
Davis, right?
Davis. Oh, it has to
I
be
think
Davis
Davis will be his partner because Davis
because
is a left
Davis
centre
left.
back.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it makes sense to me, but who knows, man?
Yeah.
But
I'm
do you
just
think
glad
Oh,
that we.
Emerson's been the better of the two defenders these last few games?
yeah, but you want to go someone with a more stable foot, right? At the two.
Yeah, I
and
think we
and
need
you
to.
know what? Even though, so let's just run through it really quickly. So as the game started, obviously it was a good move by Spurs. Caught them on the break. Great little pivot turn by Brian Hill. Great ball by Kulu. And Son's intelligence, he didn't go to the ball. He let the ball bounce. Look, it's almost like he watched that ball, watched the spin on that ball, knew that the ball would bounce, dip back slightly, so he could get his head on the ball in front of Doku, run on, and I'll hold my hands up, and I did admit, pass it to Johnson. I was screaming at him to pass it to Johnson because it looked like he was in space and he was free. But Sonny did the business, put the ball in the net. I'm sure we were all jumping up and down. 2 minutes later, unfortunately, he gets his leg to it. It's a similar goal to Villa, right? In terms
We've
of
had quite
a
a few
free
of those,
kick,
haven't we?
a free kick,
Those
ball into the
we
deflections
box.
and
don't
Can't
we
whatnot.
seem to
don't
defend
defend
it,
set
right?
pieces well. We don't defend. I don't know how much work we do, but we don't defend set pieces and free kicks and corners, and we just don't. We always look a little bit vulnerable. I know our team is not the tallest and
Well, who
biggest.
can header out of that back four we got at the moment?
Yeah, I just think we look suspect in it. I know we worked a little bit under Gio when Conte was in charge and stuff like that. We worked it, and it looked like it was working for a while. We actually managed to score a couple of times through corners, and we was defending a lot better. But then we just, I don't know. We just always leave. We always seem to leave. You know, when the free kicks come in, first of all, the high line that allows the player that's taking a free kick to put it in that spot where he wants to, a bit too easily for my liking. And also, for me, the danger's always at the back. We always seem to leave that area exposed. I don't know what you guys make of it.
Yeah, we do.
I just don't
You're
understand
right.
why we don't why I don't know, man. I see where the problem is, but it's like, okay, once I can see, twice, but you're thinking two things every time. Watch when you next time there's a free kick in a similar position where Man City had it. Our line's really up, which tells me that, you know, you're looking at the free kick, you're thinking, well, that guy just has to bend that pass into that zone, and they're going to go. And it's all. And as you know, if you've ever played football, it's always easier, harder to defend the corner when you're running towards your own goal than an attacker
Yep.
that's facing your goal. So why would you give him that level? I understand you want to hold a level of a line, but not one that literally is parallel, is literally in line with the ball. And second, that area at the back, you always think the ball's going to go towards the back stick. We always leave that area
Empty.
empty, and it just leaves everyone to like kind of just.
Well, I mean, we've lost our free kick coach, right?
Yeah,
Kind of who was with us, because he obviously,
yeah,
mind you, he was quite an offensive free kick coach,
yeah.
because we didn't seem to change defensively, like from free kicks. But that is something that, I mean, both offensive and defensive from set pieces, we need to do some bits, right? Because I was at the Villa game. The amount of free kicks we had on the edge of that box really didn't help in any way whatsoever. We didn't do anything with it. And defending a set piece also seems to be a bloody nightmare.
Well, yesterday's goal, Pau Torres the week before. There is a pattern there, guys, yeah? And all I'm trying to say, like, is statistically, for fans of statistics, they say like 15% of goals are scored in a season are scored from set pieces and corners. So to not be able to defend or attack them or score for them, you're giving up quite a bit, man. 15% in the course of a season is quite a lot. And I think it's a part of the game that we shouldn't neglect. I'm really like, you know what I'm like, man, especially when it comes to defending those sort of things. I'm really like, I would like us to pay a little bit more attention to those situations because, you know, big games, finals, you know, important matches are won. If you often those games, the deadlocks are often broken through that way. I
To
just
be
think we shouldn't.
to be fair though, it's easy to forget that Andrew's only really been at the club for like 2-3 months.
But Angels also said, I believe, and guys in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, he doesn't really spend too much time with the defensive side of part.
Yeah, I
Maybe he
think he's
hasn't
going to
had the
have
time,
to in the Premier League,
but
unfortunately for him.
I think at any
Welcome to
level,
Spurs, mate. You're
Maz,
gonna
at
have
any
to.
level, at any level, Matt Mari mentioned it earlier on about the meanest defenses, man. They
When you
you know,
win your stuff, they win your
it's
shift,
an
don't
important
they?
part. It's an important part. And see, Man City, if they want to repeat anything, I'm not saying a treble, but if they want to repeat their winning ways, they're gonna have to change those numbers that we saw yesterday. You know, they could because
But Iggy, do you think that we look like, putting aside Emerson and Davies, when we
yeah.
had VDV and Romero, did we look like a defence that didn't work on their defending? Because We had almost the best defense in the
No.
league until they went.
For me, the defend. When I mean the defending, I'm not generally. I think they are working defending. I just think the set pieces and corners. For me, I always get the feel. You know, in some teams, you look at certain teams thinking every time there's a corner, they're gonna bloody score, or they
Yeah.
look like they look really dangerous on corners. Chelsea
That's
are one of
true.
those
That's
teams.
true. He's meant to be
Uh,
the defensive person. He's meant to be
yeah,
the defensive coach, isn't he? Because that's why he brought him in.
yeah. You
Yeah,
know,
no.
certain teams always give you the impression they're gonna score from set pieces or corners, and we haven't scored a direct free kick since Ericsson scored against Norway in his last season, whenever that was. That's the last
Bloody hell.
direct free kick that hit the back of the net. You know, that's a free kick. So I know Madders is going to change that hopefully when he gets his range sorted out when he gets back. But we haven't scored a direct free kick and set pieces like a corner. Sorry, we look suspect when we defend them, and we don't look scary enough when we attack them. So I don't know.
So I just want to say really quickly, big up to Reese. We're all massive Spurs fans. Unfortunately, we actually work for the club, but who can help him?
I can try, Reese. I can try.
We'll see what we can do. What was I going to say? So first goal, then obviously the second goal went in. That was, what was the second goal? The second goal was the
own goal.
where Davis played him online, right?
Yeah.
Oh, David Foden.
Davis.
Yeah,
Davis.
there's.
It was a
Davis-
good move. And
It was
this
a
is
good
what I
move.
want to ask you guys. I don't know if you saw it, Mari, but for the guys in the UK at least, just prior to the game starting, it was Jamie Carragher who was at the ground and he was doing a little bit of commentary on the pitch. And he showed us of a defensive coach drilling the defense in a line to stay in the line. And he had the ball trying to make them hold that line still. I don't know if you guys saw that at all, did you?
I didn't see it.
No.
I didn't see it.
So it was literally, I'm going to play it. No, I'm not. I'm going to play it. No, I'm not. And they were like holding the line all together, dropping back, running forward and stuff. Into the game comes, the same thing happens. Ben Davies like just drops back and goes with the man. Now, I don't know if that's instinctive or he's obviously not been into that drill too much.
Well, he's been pulled out of position a few times in loads of times in various games. But that's Davies though. He does get drawn out of position quite easily.
It's a split decision moment, though, isn't it? Even that, if you look at that chance, that Grealish at the end, you know, where the whole referee fiasco thing happened, and that ball gets played into Jack Grealish. If you look at
We'll come on to
Davis,
that. Yeah.
if you look at Davis, he goes, he stops, he goes, keeping him onside, then he stops to try and get him offside, realizing he's onside, he goes again. But these are split decision moments. Literally making the decision on a millisecond, in a millisecond of. So he kept him on, but what you're thinking? Okay, the first part you got wrong by going with him. The second part is now do not let him turn to get that pass back. You have to literally now go and close him. So what he's done then is allowed him to get a touch of the ball, turn around and play the ball to Foden because he didn't get close enough to him. So there's two errors there. The first one for going, and the second one for letting him get that pass in to Foden because he didn't get tight enough to him. So, but again, how many teams have Man City have done that to? They've done it to so many times. So
it's true.
I can't. You have to sometimes. You just have to say,
you can't blame him. Yeah, unfortunately,
exactly.
Like we said.
I feel bad for saying, David should have done better there. Man, come on, man. It's like we are being really, really harsh, man. I feel.
And then just really quickly, I want to just speak about Man City's forward in terms of if he had a bad game or what.
Oh,
I'm sure you guys have
Blondie.
seen. I'm sure you guys have seen this picture.
Oh, the memes are going crazy on that.
Actually, I had the picture. I had the picture I was going to show. I have that picture. Yeah.
And then there is another one that I saw which absolutely creased me up, which was
Yeah, the big go. He liked it. He actually liked this.
Listen, at the
So,
end of the day,
are
he
we
was
look
poor, man. He was poor. He was
missing that
so
open
poor.
goal?
Yeah.
Kind of, it didn't really fall for him, right? But do you know what? Do we care? In all honesty,
No.
Nope.
that guy's
No.
got, was it 48 goals in
He was
50
poor,
games or
but
something like that? In under 50
I'm
games?
gonna say it.
Can I say
And
Right,
something?
as you
he
guys
got
aren't willing to say it, I'm gonna say it.
he got he got
He's an amazing world class player, right? There's no doubt about it, but it's not as good as Harry Kane.
Let me
I,
let me let me tell you something.
I,
I'm gonna
I
say this.
don't no,
I'm,
and I mean
I
no,
would say he's
no,
I'm gonna
world
say
no,
this.
class.
no, he,
I'm
I
gonna
he's
think
not
he's
say
as
a
good
world
as
this.
Harry
class
Kane.
finisher.
I'm gonna say
I
this.
don't know if he's a world class
Maz,
player though.
Maz,
Good, yeah, no, it's a good
I'm
point. Yeah, I
gonna
agree.
say this. I'm gonna say this. It's not crazy talk or whatsoever, because you guys do know my goat. I love Lionel Messi, like crazy and whatsoever. And the big debate was Erling Haaland should have, won the Ballon d'Or, and I was like, no way, no how. In the World Cup year, Messi shined, goals and assists, and what he did deserved to win the Ballon d'Or. One argument I had against Haaland, and here's the argument, right? He struggles to score against Tottenham. Do you know in 7 games, semifinals and finals, how many goal contributions, goals and assists Erling Haaland had?
0.
0. Facts. 0. 0. So, for me, I think he's an all-world talent. He still has some growing up to do,
Of
right?
course, he's young. He's
Because
young.
I rarely see those sitters, those two sitters. I rarely see Messi and Ronaldo miss a sitter like that. Erling Haaland is still great, but there is some chinks in his armor, right? 7 games, semifinals and finals, treble winning year, 0 goal contributions, 0. Now, do I say he's better than Kane? Um, but right now, Kane's on form. So if you talk about today, Kane with Bayern Munich, he's killing it. Harry
Yeah,
Kane's
but it's
killing
fair
it.
to say that we have to see
Right.
when Haaland's 30 years old, the same age as Kane, to
No,
then
exactly.
compare.
Yeah.
You have
I'm
to.
trying to be
You have
I'm
to.
trying to be fair, but I'm also trying to put some context that Erling Haaland ghosts sometimes. He ghosted yesterday. He does ghost sometimes.
What? First of all,
Or was
characteristics.
or was he locked out by Davis and Emerson?
Mate, listen, you have to give credit
Steve,
if
I
the
think he
strikers
ghosted
can I
himself.
the
just say
strikers
though,
don't do what they're meant to do, some of the credit has to go to the defenders. We have to say that.
indeed,
But also have to say that as a player, as an all-rounder, Kane's. I mean, they're both great finishers. I have to say that. But Kane is, as a player, is more
Kane's got
around. If
more.
he doesn't score, he's got more to his locker in regards to being
oh, much more.
efficient
Yeah,
for the team. He has
he's
the
a
pass in
cleverer
him. He's
footballer.
clever.
And
He's a
Iggy,
playmaker.
some of the guys in the chat are saying, "Oh yeah, but Harry Kane wasn't as good as Haaland is at 23." But Haaland's in one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
Harry Kane wasn't. Tottenham
And
were nowhere near at Man City's level.
age regardless, Maz. If Haaland was at Tottenham last season, do you think when Kane was there and he got 30
Oh, he
goals,
had
do you think
no
Haaland would have got
chance.
30 goals?
But like
Absolutely
I
no
said,
chance.
the contribution that he brings us play. If Haaland's not scoring in a playing, how efficient, how useful is he to the team if he's not contributing with goals? Very little. He offers very little as a player. He doesn't come into the midfield, links up the play in the way that Kane perhaps. And maybe it's really unfair to compare the two players because they're completely they're completely different type of players. Howland's someone who who looks for the space in behind. He relies on his pace to get through his strength, to get through his finishing, that part of it. Kane is not as blessed, perhaps, as the same pace as Haaland, but he offers his vision, passing range. He contributes more to the team. So it's not just about goals, although he gives you goals as well. So it's completely two different players. But in terms of, look, if Kane had been in the City team at 23, this Man City team, Kane would have won the same amount as, if not
It'd be
more.
banging in probably.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
we have to say Haaland's is the good fortune for Haaland's at one of the greatest teams in world football right now, and Kane wasn't. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so then moving on to, and I know we briefly spoke about him, but
Kulu.
actually we'll come to the end. I thought I
The
had a
equalizer.
picture.
Lo Celso.
Yeah, Gio's.
Can I put up a? Can I
Ah,
put? Oh,
there you go.
okay. You got it up. I have an extra one. Let me show you.
Okay.
Let me put it up. Let me show you this image.
41
If he's
out of
able to
41,
maintain
right?
that, if he's able to
41
maintain
out
anywhere
of
near that,
41.
if he's able to maintain, not necessarily 41 out of 41, but if he's able to maintain that level of
Mhm.
of that, then he's in the right path. Listen, I'm a fan
He
of Lo
actually took
Celso,
his
but I
goal
want to see
really
him
well,
involved.
wasn't he? Sonny
Yeah.
made a good run to draw the defender out the way. He obviously ran into that nice little pocket which was left, but he took his goal well.
He
This is the map right here of his passes.
was everywhere.
Successful passes. Right here.
It's covered
All
quite a
around
bit
the
of
field.
ground.
Short, long. I mean, he was everywhere. This is where I got into a little rant during the stream about him taking out Lo Celso. Despite we got the result, I'm still upset. I don't still talked about it later on post game, but I was still a bit upset that they took out Lo Celso.
I didn't understand that, Mari.
I didn't. I still don't understand it. Skip
But
wasn't
Mari,
terrible, but I still I don't understand.
he's so injury prone. That's the problem with him. That's
He wasn't
my
injured.
biggest concern with Lo Celso is how injury prone he is.
A mess. He wasn't injured though. He
No,
just took
I
him out.
understand, but I wonder
But whether he's safeguarding
he's
him in
been
a way
protected.
whatsoever, yeah. Because if he gets injured, then we're literally down to the barest of the bare bones, right? We're talking about Højbjerg and no one else there, right?
And maybe
Or
he
Skip.
hasn't got the stamina. Maybe he's still, because he hasn't played that many Premier League games. Maybe he's still building up that match fitness to go the full.
I guarantee
80,
you
90
though,
minutes.
if it was for Argentina, he would play 90 minutes.
Yeah, but it's a slower paced game. It's not on the Premier League.
Yesterday's game, man, he played 80 odd minutes,
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Maybe Ange felt in that moment he needed something a bit more grit, and maybe he'd run out of steam. And
because he brought Skip on, right?
Yeah, but Skip is not. That's not a like for like change, is it? It's clearly told
A
Skip
lot more defensive.
to fight defensive and put some tackles in the last 10 minutes and try and get us up
lucky
the
he's
pitch.
ill today, because if he came on, I'll give him a little bit of a ribbing about Skip. He deserves it.
Oh, you would go for it, man. Don't
hold
hold
that-
back, man.
Hold that thought for later in the week, Maz. Hold that thought for later in the week.
No, say what you got to say, and he can always respond at a later stream or another stream.
No. I'll save it for when he's here. Don't worry. He knows. He knows. He knows.
So in terms of failed passes, I see nothing in red. Obviously, no assists, but successful passes. They're quite mad stats. 41 out of 41. I thought we had a good game. I thought we took the goal really well. Job done. Then
you alluded to it though, JP. Right? It's a really interesting problem that he's given us now, because let's say he continues to play and he cements himself in the team, and then we get back Maddison and Sars back, and Bentancur comes
They're
back.
good problems to have.
Right,
Yeah.
it's a very good problem to have. Then it's, does he want to stay at Spurs and fight for that place as that
That's
number
the character.
8, right? And then do we then not cash in on him, knowing that he's got injuries in his locker at any moment? He could get injured. Not that any other player can't get injured, but he's got a history of getting
it's
injured.
the same with Maddison as well, though, isn't it? Like in a way,
Yeah, but
isn't
he's
it?
not as injury prone as Lo Celso. I mean, I think he's been with us, was it 4 years, and he's only been fit for was it 18
So
months out of the
maybe,
4 years?
Yeah,
so
but
maybe,
he has been loaned out and he has been frozen out
so
by
maybe,
some
maybe,
managers and
guys,
stuff
there
like
is a
that.
level of
I
shielding on him.
personally, I would say him and Madison. Well, I don't see why they can't play 50% of like a game.
Yeah, I don't think you
Know what I
can
mean?
drop Madison though if he's fit,
No,
because
no.
he's levels. I mean, like
Madison was there, but
Madison's
him and
for
Madison would
me.
share.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Madison surprised me by but how good he actually is. Don't know whether he's just because he's coming to Spurs, he's just stepped up that extra level.
He's moved up a level. He has.
Yeah,
He has
or
lifted up a level.
but
But even Leicester fans say that Madison's quite and he gets an injury and he's normally out for a while.
Yeah. My question is, right, you see this, right? When you have a healthy Madison, Basuma has been struggling, and Sarr, I thought before the injury, was struggling, and then Bentancur came in, and you see the old Bentancur, and then the injury happened. You know, Matty Cash's tackle. When March rolls around, right, and everyone's healthy, right? Who are your three? Let me remove this. Who are your three people in the midfield? Because now I almost want, okay, maybe Basuma will stay, Madison and Bentancur, or if Lo Celso keeps doing what he does, you know, Lo Celso, Basuma, and Madison, or if we sign somebody, it could be Kulu, Madison, and Basuma. We might have a good headache in March, possibly.
see, I think that I mean this is only based off that half an hour Bentancur was playing, but to me, I still think Bentancur's our best midfielder.
No, I
He just
agree.
oozes so much
I'm
quality.
with you on that one. He
Yeah.
is. He
It's
is one of
Madison.
our best
It's
players.
Madison, Basuma, and Bentancur easily.
Yeah,
You
I mean
want to
that
see
that
those three. You
midfield
want to
would
see those three control that midfield. Bentancur
yeah
was almost doing it by himself the other day. And
yeah
if you got
exactly.
yeah.
I
But
mean
Madison
that
pulling,
Villa,
you got
midfield would
Madison pulling
potentially
the
be one of
strings.
the
schooling those
best
guys.
midfield in the league.
He was schooling
I just,
Villa before the
I
injury.
just hope we are in a situation where these guys can be fit all at the same time, because it worries me that we always seem to be missing someone, and we mustn't forget Saar, because Saar perhaps won't score the amount of goals. You see, the way I see it is simple. You got Bissouma and Bentancur cannot occupy, and I know Bentancur can play in the 8 as well, but essentially the 6 is the role that they both play. And then you got Saar and Lo Celso occupy the number 8 positions. They're kind of a box to box. But the difference is Lo Celso's way more composed in front of goal than Saar is. And then you got the number 10, really Madison's position. Obviously, Kulusevski has had something to say in that role as well. But a fit Madison always plays there. So then we got good choices, but it's good to have them fit, because I think we're going to need all of them. It'll be on form, it'll be how they're playing, and also the fact that if they're all available at the same time, it means that everybody's going to be up in their game because they're worried about losing their spot. So and that could only be a benefit for Ange Postecoglou, and also depends on the characteristics of the team that you're playing against will determine who plays in that role. You might have a more physical game, and then you might need the presence of Sarr, or you might have a technical game, and then you obviously Lo Celso, Bentancur might fit in more well. Do you want some? Bentancur has this brilliant way of just dominating the ball control and the glide, the transition from defense into attack. Lo Celso has the intricate small passes, give and go. You know, different players for the different horses for courses. So Bissouma won't be able to have too many of these games, because then you'll have the likes of Bentancur, the likes of Sarr, and all the other boys that we just mentioned up his tail. So he would have to up his game and make sure he doesn't have too many of these kind of games. So I think it would be a really good midfield battle there, and not forgetting, of course, the likes of Skip and Højbjerg, who can contribute from the bench anyway. I think that's going to be our strongest. I feel it's going to be one of our strongest area when everybody's fit. and that can help us. That would be massively important for us if we're going to get back into Europe for next season. Hopefully, finish in the top 4.
Being in control of that midfield takes a bit of relief away from the defense, doesn't it?
Massively, it's so
Kinda
important.
gives them that. One, it gives them that level of protection, and two, if we're more offensive with the ball, it's kind of where we play the high line anyway.
Of course.
There's literally less for them to do, right? In a way.
And we've got a really good goalkeeper behind them as well. So we may not always have clean sheets, but we definitely get a lot more clean sheets, or with the very minimum, not concede too many goals. And we look like we can score goals for fun as well. So the quicker we can have those midfielders back and available again and fit, of course, the better it is for us. And I think we need another in January. I would say if we can get a centre back, so we're not in the position that we are now, it will offer us a better level of cover than not having to resort to 2 fullbacks playing there. And perhaps a winger, a real dangerous winger on the left hand side. I don't want to say Zaha, but a player with that sort of dynamic that Zaha has on the left hand side. With Brennan Johnson, literally have 2 arrows on the wings.
Does that Eze play on the left?
Awesome. Sorry?
Does that Eze play on the left?
He's a left-footed player. I think he plays on the right hand side. But even those characteristics, like Olise and players like that, literally have arrows on the wings where their number one thing is to take on players and putting balls in the boxes. You know, I think we can have real good fun there. But if we have players like those characteristics there, and you've got players in midfield that can play them in, and Son making runs off them, I think we can have real good fun.
Is that something that gets you a little bit excited in a way, knowing that we know we've got a depleted team right now, but they can play like that? If they listen to Ange and do what Ange says, they can play like that. And when our players come back with a couple more, does that get you a little bit excited?
No, I'll tell you why I don't get excited by that, JP.
Tell me, man.
Because we've just got this history of just constantly having injury-prone players, and we never get them all back for a sustained period of time to see, right, what can this team do? Do you see what I'm trying to say? It was almost a miracle that we had a lot of our first team players fit for the first 10 games, and now for the next 10 we're going to have this.
Well, the one game a week has helped us in that way. Imagine.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know,
all over.
So it's.
So having a little.
I really sorry, JP. I really want. I think all Spurs fans should want this, but I really want Ange to be backed with the players he wants. Get that centre back in, or a couple of centre backs. I don't think we'll get a couple. We'll probably just get one. Get that additional forward if he wants another one on the left, maybe, because Perisic is gone. Solomon's
Richarlison could be gone as well if he goes to the Saudis.
Richarlison could be gone, yeah, hopefully. And I don't know if he's going to strengthen the midfield, to be honest with you. But they and maybe another forward in case Son gets injured, because I'm not sure Veliz is ready yet, by all accounts. So, do you think we can get 3 players in?
It can be done.
I don't see why not. I think just really to touch on your
but I feel
reason for old Spurs players. Sorry, Oki, like players getting injured. It is a historical thing, but what I will say is, at some point we've got to move forward, right? The players that are currently injured are all new players. So
Gio's not new. Well, Gio was injured for ages. He's just come back.
Yeah,
Bentancur's not new, right?
Van der Ven's new, Madison's new, Solomon's new.
Bentancur, both injuries, man, are total freaks. ACL, and when he was playing in he was our best player until that point. And then this one here, I mean, Matt Cash has done a dirty one. He's done him dirty on that one. That's not an injury where he's gone on a run and he's pulled a muscle. Let's say the same way that Sessegnon does, and he's got history even before he came to us.
He's another one.
So, you know, he's another one. But this is a complete freak. What's happened to
Yeah,
Bentancur? But I
we've got a
agree.
lot
I
of
agree. I do understand the sentiment, though, man. I do get it.
yeah. I mean, we've got a lot of the way I see our squad is we've got a lot of we've got a lot of dead space because I think we've got 5 or 4 goalkeepers registered. I think it's 5, isn't it? We know that Lloris is going to go 100%. We know Eric Dyer's going 100%. I think that we need to definitely move on Brian Gill. He's just too lightweight. He's again, he's another player we've had. Well, how long now? Is it 2 years, 3 years now? Right, we've loaned him out twice. He's not bulked up. He's had 2-3 years. When you're young and of that age and you're training all the time, you should be bulking up, and he hasn't. Right,
Yeah.
so he's
Look,
not made for the Premier League.
I
right?
feel though, Maz, that's a little bit mismanagement by Tottenham, because rather than sending him back or keeping him here and try and sending him to maybe an English league where he can learn to start bouncing off people, he learns that he's got to become physical. It's almost sending him back to Spain was kind of, well, they can work with little technical players there, right? And they don't. He necessarily needs to change himself too much.
Possibly. I don't know. These are professional footballers though that get paid a lot of money, JP. You know, and they should be hitting the gym basically and eating more food.
They no, but
I do.
in
Not the gym anymore, but I eat a lot of food.
you know what you need to do to keep going, right?
Yeah.
At your
But,
level.
no,
But funny enough, I had a similar conversation with Shine earlier in terms of like Basuma. And it was like literally like while, for instance, we were talking about Basuma and the manager allowing you to be free, right? And allowing he'll take the responsibility. So it doesn't matter if you make an error. So in terms of try and beat 3 men at the edge of your penalty area, yeah, no problem, go for it, mate. And if you lose it, it just kind of turns out to be a goal. It's fine doing that, and it's fine feeling that your manager's got your back and you can do that. But you as a professional, at some point you have to learn not to make stupid mistakes, not to do that. You don't turn back into 3 people. Right? There's like you just don't, right? So
that was a mistake.
While you get to learn, you have a little bit of a learning curve. In the same way, you also have to take something on board to go, right, I need to absorb something. I need to learn not to do that. You're right in Hill. He needs to go. I'm getting pushed off.
I think Ashraf in the comments said Gil needs to spend the month hanging out with Ndombele to get some more food in him. That's brilliant. Comment of the day.
Yes, Ashraf. Indeed,
but anyway,
indeed.
but so we know Lloris is going, Dyer's going. I think Richarlison needs to go. I don't think he's ever going to come good for Spurs. So if we can move him on, we should. Gil needs to go. Then we've got those other couple of young goalkeepers that are registered in the first team squad that are spaces, right? That we could fill with players. Sessegnon, we need to get rid. He's a lost cause.
It's got to be ripped up, his contract.
He's got to be ripped up. You know, we probably won't do it this window, but hopefully in the summer, either Davies or Emerson, probably keep Emerson because he's younger, but Davies will move on as well. So we've got a good 4 or 5 players there that we could make meaningful signings. Starting with this window coming up, maybe get a couple in or 3, which would be amazing, and then come summer, if we get another couple, so that's 5 players in total, we can have a backbone of a half decent squad. At least it gives Ange the tools to move the team on, you know. But I'm getting really frustrated with the situation that we're in, and I know this is the process, right? That we have to go through, you know, because it takes time to ship the players out, bring the players in, etc., etc. And just surprised all of us, but just by how quickly the team
he's accelerated that journey,
accelerating this whole process. But I just had this sentiment when I was watching that Man City game that, like, you know, for crying out loud, why are we in this situation? It really frustrated me because Man City were there for the taking in my book because they were missing all their chances. They were great, but they were missing their chances, and we were dangerous when we got forward. And I just thought if we just had that squad depth, we could have really done something, And this is not just this game. This has happened in some of the other games as well, right?
I think, Maz, what I would say with that is probably like, well, don't get frustrated. But I mean, in terms of even if we had squad depth, right? It could be the fact that we've got squad depth from out of what Conte wanted, out of what what's his name, Jose, kind of like before him, and it would have been a mishmash, right? And even though our mate Postecoglou's done a hell of a lot, he's moved on. He's raised some of those players that are there now, right? In terms of the way they are playing now, putting them into making him play his way. And I think he's doing his damnedest to embed that in as much as possible. Of course, we miss Madison and kind of like those key players. And I also think if we had those key players there, I think we would have given City a proper game, and if not beat them. I'm really looking forward to the game at White Lane, hoping that we've got all our guys back, right? Because I honestly think toe to toe, we can give them a good game, albeit the fact that they'll have De Bruyne back and stuff like that. So it is a struggle to not want to see more and want to achieve more when suddenly we've come a long space in a short time. And like, I'm like that as well, and like I keep going back to, if I have to compare us with our friends down the road, I will say it's almost taken them what, 3 and a bit years to get to where they are now. 4 years. It's literally taken us 14 games, 15 games. So we're only 15 games into that. So can you imagine with Ange, given the backing, I was saying, given the backing, given the team and all the players and all that, where we could be in 3 to 4 years?
Well, that's a big part of it, isn't it? Because up until last year,
that's the dream to cling on to, isn't it?
Up until last year, we'd lost all hope. And that's I think that's the one thing Ange Postecoglou has brought back is just the hope, the vision, because we're able to see the belief that we can, under this manager, go on to do something. And the most important factor that has to not be underestimated is the fact that we enjoy watching Spurs play every week. We're not going into games. Oh, here we go, same old, same old. We actually enjoy. He surprised us in team selection. He surprised us in his team selections when we thought it was going to be one team. He's brought a level of calmness amongst the team, and he seems to be. We always said, how is he behave? It's all good and well when you're winning. How's he going to behave when things are not going well? And he's shown that he's very. What's the word? It's the very one piece. He's very set in how he wants to see and do things. Now the rest for me is going to be up to the club. It's going to be up to the board. It's going to be up to them. They're the ones now that need to be, and they're the ones that brought Ange in for a reason.
Yeah,
He's come in and done what he's got to do. Now it's up to the club to respond and to say, look, we are all behind Ange and the boys for what they're trying to do. Now the board needs to also be part of that and show them in the only time they can, really, in January, and say, look, this is what we want. This is how we want to move forward. Do we expect everything in year one? No. But do we want to put steps in place to go, to where we want to be at in the next year 2,
3,
3?
year 4, whatever.
Then I'll say, yeah, they have to do that. And that's the big question. That's the question mark I have over them.
And that's the thing, Iggy, right? They all have to agree, I think, in like, okay, we've got a 4-year plan, let's say, and signed a 4-year contract. By the end of year 4, we want to be challenging to win the league. Or we want to win the league by year 4.
Objectives, ambition.
Kind of like wherever it is, right? It has to be set. And in order for us to achieve that, we've got to do A, B, C, D, E, F for us to get there, right? The team needs to be there. First, you need to finish in the top 6, let's say we finished 8th wherever we were, right? Conceded 60 odd goals. So objective number 1, don't concede as many goals, finish above 8th, right? And then slowly you go, okay, now Champions League. Let's stay in the Champions League spots for a couple of years, or at least 2 years. Then we go, do you know what? At that point, we should be in a position to win the league. What do we need to do? We need to buy players, blah, 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 blah. And we need to listen to him. If he says, oh, do you know what? I'm not liking it with Maddison, irrespective of how Maddison's playing and stuff. If we can get money for him, we need to go and bring him in someone that he wants, if he wants to play in a different style of football. Doesn't matter if they've been there long or been there however long. Same with Poch, right? He wanted to get rid of like Ericsson, wasn't it? Or like Delhi at the time. And it was, oh no, he's a star. We've got to keep him. We'll make shitload of money on him. I don't know.
Listen, it all comes down to objectives, ambition, whatever it is that they want to achieve. They need to bring it to light. We've already seen from the manager how he wants to play, how he wants to move forward with the players, the style. He's shown all of that stuff. He's shown, and we all liking it. We all enjoying it because it's. Sorry.
Reece Nelson.
Sorry,
Reece Nelson of Arsenal would be a very good choice.
For Tottenham. Why?
We don't do business with Arsenal.
Don't want those
Yeah,
rejects.
I don't remember the last time we've done business with them, or vice versa.
So, we don't do business with
I
Arsenal.
remember the last time it was vice versa, but
no, that was a different scenario, wasn't it? It wasn't like it wasn't any business. That was just a free transfer. But what I'm trying to say is like it's all up to the board now, you know.
That's the worry.
We got a massive month ahead, you know. We have a massive month ahead in December, a lot of fixtures, and we need to recover as many players as possible to get past it, and then to get to January in the hope that we get 1 or 2. Do you know what? Even if they were loans to begin with, loans with option to buy or anything like that, you can.
That's what we've been doing, isn't it? Last
exactly. Get them with
3
loans
windows.
options to buy in 18 months, whatever. Just get them in. Get them in. If they're if they fit for purpose and they fit to what we want to do, and then into physically integral to the cause. Yeah, I'd accept that as well. The same way we did with Kulusevski, you know, and when he first came on board, I had no problem with getting players like that with those kind of deals.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys disagree, but
So
what means?
No, I agree.
Gomez.
I was.
Go on, say it.
Okay, I'll say this question to the panel, starting with Mari. What 3 players would you like for us to sign in January?
3 players I would like for us to sign, realistically, or just.
No. Just, I mean, you don't have to say specific players. Just what positions?
The positions, I definitely want another forward, either be a striker or someone out on the left. I honestly would like to move Sonny back to the left because he was creating. It's just that with Charles and Kim Fisher's dinner, so I want a striker. So I want to put Sonny back onto the left, and then I want a midfielder. I know we'll talk about midfield depth. I still want another midfielder onto the team, and then I want another center back. So those are the 3.
Yeah, I'm in line, man. I'll look at Ivan Toney. It'll be wicked, but I don't know if Ivan Toney's going.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure we're spending £80 million on one player.
Yeah, but even if you even as it Ferguson from Brighton,
he's a gooner, isn't he?
like that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, listen, a forward or left forward, left wing or whatever you want to call him. I think we should get someone on the left. But I wouldn't say no to a striker, and perhaps go with Son on the left hand side. It's 100% centre back because look at that. Is Romero always a million miles away from suspension? No. And you can't have a situation where Van der Ven or any other centre back gets an injury and not have cover for them because you don't have it in Dyer. So Dyer's a waste of time having him there. The goalkeeper Luis, a waste of time having him there. There's so many players that we've got in the squad that are completely waste of time having him around. And Richarlison himself, who someone who could play forward or on the left hand side, it's just pointless. So for me, I would still keep Son in the middle. I do think Son's it's a good option there. And I would like to see more attacking minded wingers, someone who likes to first and foremost take on players to create numerical advantages in attacking situations. And the only way you get numerical advantages is by players taking on players. And for me, that's what wingers should be about. So anyone that fit in the Premier League that fits in those characteristics, for me, should be of interest to Tottenham Hotspur. The Brentford players, the winger I really like for them, I've forgotten his name now. Really, really good, quick.
Not
Palace. Yeah, good. Those sort of characteristics. Palace got good, really good wingers there as well. So I think there's a few of them about in the Premier League, and any of those players will better us. Because Brennan Johnson's shown signs it could be better on the right, so we need someone on the left-hand side that offers us the same sort of outlet. And I think we've got players in the middle that can set those guys free. And with Son's movement, I think I think we can do bits midfield going forward. And so that's what I would like. That's what I would like to see. Even on loan, man. Like I said, we don't have to buy them outright. We could always try before we buy. Whatever fits.
I'm seriously big up, Danny. Nice to see you, man.
Big up, Dan.
Big up, Dan.
I'm gonna go exactly the same as the guys. We definitely need someone as a centre back because we've seen the opportunity or we've seen the problems that happen when suddenly two of them are out for a bit. We end up with Davis and Emerson as our centre backs. We can't be in that position again. We have to do something about it. The problem is bringing someone in who's not young, but someone who's quality, who's going to want to literally be a bit part player, right? So in a way, someone who's established more than likely is not going to come. And you almost feel like centre backs are an area that you want two stable people there, right? You want to build that partnership up. You want to keep and in my mind, it's currently Van der Ven and like Romero. So literally their first choices, and what we want to bring in is someone who's ideally someone to that level, but is happy to sit there and wait their turn, right? Which is not easy, which means it's probably going to have to be another youngish person. I was with Ash Matic last week, and he picked out a couple of young, kind of fast centre backs, almost in Van der Ven's ilk. I think there was one guy from Uruguay, I believe, and another French kid, and both of them looked pacey, probably in the 20 million mark. It's whether if they get offers from other clubs and get first team football and stuff like that. So I totally understand that it's a difficult time, especially in January. So it will be tight, and loan's probably the best option. Whether we get another stopgap from now to the end of the season, just to make sure that we've got decent cover or not, but we definitely need someone in that place. I would definitely go for another striker, goal scorer type person, because God forbid and touch wood, if Sonny gets injured for any reason whatsoever, we don't seem to have anyone else up front now that can score goals. Put Richarlison there, I don't know if it'll make a difference. Put Brennan Johnson up in the middle, I don't think it'll make that much a difference. So I think we definitely need cover there, because in a way, similar to what we've had at centre back, potentially we've got a bit of a problem coming over the horizon if Sonny gets hurt or injured, And then you'd probably, I don't know if we need anyone in defensive midfield, to be honest. But if we end up, if there's talk about getting rid of Gio, then you probably need a little bit more creativity, or maybe even a goal scoring midfielder, because outside now, because out of our midfield, literally, Madders probably gets you a couple of goals. I'd like to think in the season he'd get us double digits, but because he's been out for a bit now, I don't know out of him. Højbjerg's obviously not got goals in him. I mean, he has scored. Skippy, no goals there. Bentancur, obviously, he's been out a hell of a lot. Basuma didn't really score that many goals. Papasar's 800 shots. He's probably not scored any goals yet. So, a goal scoring midfielder would be nice. But where we play them out of Basuma, Bentancur, and Maddison when they're all fit is the toughie. But options are what makes the team bigger and stronger and play against different teams, right?
I would be happy with just two. I would call it a successful January window if we get two players. And that's a defensive, a defender, central defender, and the left forward, left attacking winger forward.
Left forward for me, other than Madison and Son, who've been scoring practically all our goals, we need the wingers to chip in with the goals, and I think someone on the left hand side that comes in has to be chipping in with goals. We desperately need players.
I mean, Cooley scored. How many has Cooley scored now? Is it 4?
3, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that enough?
Listen, I think these guys should all be nearing. They should be nearing double figures.
You kind of want double figures, really, don't you? From
I
midfield.
mean, but the season's not finished yet.
As your goal.
Yeah,
true,
I
know. But
true.
I know.
But so far, we've only had Son and Madders, so we'll see.
Right, literally, we've been going for over an hour and a half, hour 45. Well, not an hour 45, but couple more things really, and then we'll wrap it up. So really quickly, I just want to talk about. I've left this on the screen for a second. About the ref blues whistle. Now, I have my own story about why he did that. But what's your thoughts on this? As it was probably the controversial thing of the game. I think one thing I'd say, sorry, Maz, really quickly, it was really nice not being stopped for VAR for like 800 minutes in that game. We seemed to go that game. I think there was only one VAR check, right? And that was reasonably quick on a penalty shout, kind of from them. So it was almost really not. I actually forgot about VAR during that game, which was like a great thing to say. But yeah, go on, man. Sorry.
I'll be quick. So I thought it was the referee panicked and made a mistake. And I think that we need to trust in the referees and support them during hard times because they've got a hard job. You know, I mean, I'm just being facetious, but look, you win some, you lose some, and
if they make a mistake,
they lost.
They make a mistake, right?
Yeah, I mean,
almost.
I would rather that the referees made a mistake and mistakes, and we didn't have VAR. Now we've ran the VAR experiment. I'm not in favour of VAR. I think it stops the game too much. I'd rather it flow, be end to end, and if there's mistakes, and then we argue about it afterwards. But he made a mistake. It was a mistake. Tough luck. You know, it is what it is.
Yep.
Yeah. Viewing the same way. Everybody's been screwed by either the refs, VAR. So it's just unfortunate City has to take it. You know, I think he inadvertently blew the whistle. But then again, I don't know if he's onside, right? These days, you don't know if he's onside. He could have been offsides. It's a possibility. But yeah, I'm not. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not like, I can stand City fans are screaming, but we've been screwed this year too. So that's the whole Premier League. So it's just kind of like, it is what it is.
For me, I thought the referee, in the grand scheme of, in the whole context of the game, I thought he had a good game. I thought he had a really good game. Yeah, he made a mistake at the end. The one thing that we've all thought, normally when there's like a player that's offside by 5 yards, they let the play carry on, and then they make the decision to call it back and say it was offside. Sometimes, all I would have said to the referee in that moment, maybe you thought for that split second that there was no advantage in that ball played over the top, not realizing perhaps Grealish was through on goal. Thankfully for us, why not let it play out and then call it back if you need to, if they felt that there was no advantage in that move. But again, we have to look. They've been getting massacred all season, and I don't think we're going to get very far
Persecuting them.
if at this rate, because we can't expect if we think players are going to make mistakes and goals are conceded, goals are not goals get missed by strikers, and Haaland is one of them. We conceded because someone makes a mistake often. How the hell can we go for a 90-minute game where referee doesn't make a single error? He made an error. It was a bad error, but it was a genuine error. But in a grand scheme of things, I thought the referee had a good game where he wasn't. He was very on top of things. So I think people just got to relax it a little bit, because I think there'll be decisions for and there'll be decisions against for every team in the league in the course of the season, and that starts with the players, that starts with the managers, and then everybody else will follow suit. If they can calm things down from their end, then the media wouldn't latch on to so many things that happen on the pitch from what the players do and say. And then the fans perhaps would take a different stance on it. I don't know, guys, but we have to start from somewhere.
I mean, my theory, and looking at it as a football fan, because I would be probably just as pissed if it happened, kind of like if the shoe was on the other foot.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that from the ref's perspective, he took the safe option and the safe route out, right? Because either way, I think he would have been shafted, because as he saw Haaland get fouled, he was going to blow his whistle to say free kick, but he saw him get up, right? He played a through ball through. Now, the ref was behind the play, looking in front of him. So he would have had what? Davis, Emerson,
a lot of bodies.
and in front of him. I think he saw that Jack Grealish was in front of Davis or someone, right? And he thought he's offside. So I'm going to blow it. That way, I've got a safe option. They've got a free kick. If he'd have played it and it went through and it was offside, he would have been shouted at for not giving a free kick, right?
They could have called it back.
Don't know, but you can't, because if he'd have played it through, the lino can't put his flag up. He's got his rules say you've got to wait till end of play till it turns out into anything before I can call it. So they would have let that play through. It wouldn't have no longer been offside, or like he wouldn't have been able to call it back, is what I mean, right?
Yeah.
By the time we still don't know if Grealish would have scored. Right, he could have fluffed it anyway. He could have fallen over his laces before he even got to the ball. But if he had gone through, and if he got a shot or whatever he had on goal, and then the linesman put his flag up to say no, he was offside, he couldn't go back and give the free kick.
Less of the two evils, though, I think.
Yeah, I think he took the safe option and said, "Oh, it looks like he's offside. I'll give him the free kick here now. Job done." It's unfortunate that he turned out to be onside, and the fact that they all went after him like kind of like lunatics.
That's for sure. Yeah. That's
I
part
reckon. I reckon that's what happened, but it is what it is, unfortunately. And as everyone said, it swings and roundabouts. It's happened to us many a times before. Not that particular thing, but we get bad ends of the call. It happens to every team, and while we can all have a moan about it, when it happens to our team, we just got to get on with it. Really quickly then, before we wrap up, West Ham Thursday. How do we boys feel about now coming off the back of getting a result with a crappy team away at City?
I'm am a bit more positive now after seeing the performance against City. We should have Sarr back, Romero coming back, which is very, very important. I assume it's going to be Davies and Romero. That's more tolerable than the last couple of pairings, and so I think Romero will make Davies a little better on the defense. And we're at home. If it was at West Ham, I would be a bit worried, but I'm confident. I'm confident we could get a 2-0 victory or a 2-1 victory at home against West Ham. I'm more confident that we could be able to do that with Lo Celso playing and Lo Celso and starting along with Basuma. He needs to come back into gear, and then if they start Kulu, then that would be perfect. So yeah, I'm looking at a 2-1 or 2-0 victory.
Mari?
Listen,
Sorry, Iggy?
go on. Yeah, listen, London derbies, man. It's always a cup final. It's always but look, it's as tough as it's going to be. West Ham are a decent side, has to be said, but we have to absolutely return to winning ways. We have to return to winning ways. So 3 points. I think the next two games they're both at home, aren't they? Newcastle as well. Is it both West Ham and Newcastle at home? I believe.
Yeah.
Is that right? So we have to make the home count. You know, the last outing wasn't a great one, Aston Villa, result-wise. And we absolutely, if we can play anywhere near the first half that we did against Aston Villa, creating loads of chances, we must capitalise this time around. If we can do that, then I think we can get the points, and you know, we have to absolutely get into winning ways. And I think if we do that against West Ham, that would set us up nicely for the Newcastle home game as well in the weekend.
Yeah, I'm much more confident, purely because Romero should be back, right, for the West Ham game,
Yeah.
and just having Romero back instantly, that back four just looks a hell of a lot more secure with Porro, Romero, Davis, and Adogi. You know, the in terms of going forward or the rest of the team, you just I guess you keep it the same as the Man City game, unless you drop Hill and you put Højbjerg in and you put you know, you shuffle the forwards around to make that system work, like he did in the second half versus Man City. But I think he'll keep it the same and just literally slot in Romero.
I think that as well.
And the same for
Yeah,
Newcastle. If we
I'm with you.
win West Ham, we put in a good performance and we win, let's say 2-0. Then yeah, I'll be much more hopeful against Newcastle, especially at home.
Yep, 100% with you. So I know I'll be there. It is kind of literally going to be the same team, bar Romero. For me, it's a must-win game. There's three teams I absolutely detest, which would be Arsenal, Chelsea, and West Ham. And it's those teams I want to detest, maybe a bit hard, but it's those teams I'd have to win against. Wind me up big time. So it's a must-win for me. It will be a good game, I think. They seem to play openish football, and they seem to have some kid called Kudos. I think who I saw scored another goal this weekend or something in terms of West Ham. It depends if they try and come with a low block and try and stink it out. But I think even with teams who do that, I think the way we play now we press ourselves kind of like almost like onto teams who play a low block, and we can play those little 1-2s now, and kind of like Geo's tops at that.
We just got to be careful that we don't set up an opportunity for James Ward-Prowse. he could.
Set pieces. I'll go
pieces.
back. I'll go back to it again. Set pieces are probably also going to be key, Mari, as you said. And we've seen the last 2 games we've been outdone by a set piece, right? And with James Ward-Prowse in their team, where that ball's going. So we need to work on our head play and make sure that we can get our head to balls. As funny as that sounds, but that's got to be what training's all about, man. But no, it should be a good game. Right. I would say that's a wrap. There's one real quick question for you, Iggy.
Yeah. Tough group, but one I think Italy will get through. But I think as well, there's like you get first, top 2 go through, and then the third best place goes through as well. I think we've got enough. I mean, Spain are a good side, they always are. Croatia, good side, but an aging side, and then the other one's Albania. We've got to start well against Daniela. We've got to start well against Albania in the first opening game. If we get the 3 points there, that will set us up nicely for the Spain game, and then try and see off Croatia. But I think Italy will have enough to get. I like the way Spalletti's has got that Italy team playing. So I think between now and then, we'll have a bit of a more cohesion amongst the players and the team, and I think we're going to get through that group. How about you guys? How you guys feeling about England's group?
That's easy enough, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's pretty. I mean, Serbia is going to be a challenge.
Denmark is the other one.
They have Vlahovic and Mitrovic. So that game is going to be physical. They play Denmark, Højbjerg and Eriksson. Denmark is always tidy, solid. So, and then so Slovakia, can never pronounce it, but England should still win that bracket. Yeah. They should, but you never know with Southgate, man. This is the most talented.
That's the biggest worry, Like
talented.
You kind of feel the players we've got there should be winning something.
I don't know if he's the one though. I've said it. How long have I been saying it?
Not sure
Euro
he's the guy to do it.
I said it
as the manager.
The World Cup in Russia.
Not a fan of Southgate.
Russia 2018. Euro,
imagine if Ange was in charge.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they'll be the favorites.
We'd
easily.
be the World Cup winners, mate.
Yeah, favorites. Well, I mean, with Bellingham and
with Bellingham and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Southgate squandered a really good generation of players, basically.
Yeah. I feel happy, guys.
More foolish them for keeping him in all this time. He's done. Listen, he done 2018. I think he had a really good World Cup. I thought he done well. 2020 lost the final, okay, but after that, it should have been right. 2 tournaments now. Let's give someone else a crack with this generation.
He messed up against Italy.
But you know what?
He went too conservative. He went too pragmatic, like against Italy, and 1-0 against Italy. That's not enough.
Yeah, had them on the ropes.
Waistcoat sales have gone up though, Iggy.
Sorry.
Waistcoat sales have gone up though.
Yeah.
That's the market. All right, we'll have to love you and leave you all, Iggy, when you are next morning videos.
Mate, it's just been so crazy at work. I apologise to everyone for not doing enough videos in the morning. I need to figure something else out. If it's not possible in the morning, maybe I'll have to start doing evening videos. We'll see, guys. Just got to get through this busy period, and then we'll definitely kickstart.
You should call it bedtime stories with Iggy.
Bedtime stories with Iggy.
Bedtime.
Yeah.
Bedtime with the
bedtime from the lane. Bedtime.
Imagine him at the lane now. It'd be freezing cold. Like
having a run.
A cup of hot cocoa.
Stel, can you hold the light on me, please? Stel, hold the light. Right. Mari, you on Wednesday?
Yeah, Wednesday. It's gonna be Spurs Lounge. Preview the West Ham game.
And what are we doing Thursday? Because obviously there's games on.
Yeah, Thursday. I don't know if there really is going to be a North London hours because
With a watch along.
Yeah, we got the watch along, which I'm not gonna. I'll be at work, so we gotta figure this out. I will be maybe till second half, so we need to figure out if you're at the stadium.
All right.
and
Well, we'll
it's
sort that out. Yeah. It was just I wasn't sure if you were doing the North London derby later or after the game or anything like that. But yeah, we
might have
can
to
sort that
try
out.
it. Yeah.
We can sort that out. Maz,
Probably
we'll
Monday.
see you next week.
But if something bad goes, if something
You-
bad happens, I'll
We'll
see
see you
how I
Thursday
feel.
night. We'll see you Thursday night. Nah.
Yeah.
So big, massive love to everyone in the chat for joining us, giving us your comments, giving us your views. It helps us carry on and keep the conversation flowing and going. So big love to everyone. Happy Monday.
Smash that like, guys.
Please
Hit that
smash
like.
the like.
If you
Those
don't,
people.
and if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
All right. Big love. Speak soon. Bye now.
Come on, you Spurs.
Morning Spurs.
Come on, you
Come on,
Spurs.
Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Come on, JP. Find the end banner.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away.